Unit 13, Part 4. So let me work out this example, which Klenk does on page 251. Right? This is an example of a sentence with a complex predicate. Okay? Rhinos are ill-tempered and will attack if provoked. Okay? So let's do the strategy. Right? What's the overall form of this thing? It's universal inclusion, right? Where does my subject end and my predicate begin? Okay, again, where's the verb? Right? What's the verb here? It's just are, A-R-E. Right? The subject is rhinos, right? What is it that I'm talking about? I'm talking about rhinos. No modifiers on rhinos, but I'm predicating of rhinos. I'm saying of them that they're ill-tempered. They are, right? They are, like this predicate holds of them, they are ill-tempered and will attack if provoked. Okay, it's quite a complex predicate. Got the logical words. They're ill-tempered, and so I'm going to have to have a conjunction. They will attack if provoked. I'm also going to have a conditional, but where? This is the crucial thing, where all as part of the predicate, right? So lay down the overall form first, keep that form in place, right? So the most important thing is you do this, right? I'm talking about all rhinos. I'm saying of all rhinos, this is true, right? Boom. That's the most important bit, right? Right? I'm leaving a lot of space here because my predicate is complex, but that's the overall form. That's what I have to get down first, okay? For all x, the subject is just rhinos, so it's just if x is a rhino. Now look at what I do. I'm going to rewrite the propositional function, which means there will be variables involved. Remember, if you're given I can't say sentences, but strings of words and symbols, and you're asked, is this a singular sentence or a propositional function or a categorical, kind of question you'll be faced with in the quizzes and exams. How do you know if it's a propositional function? It's a propositional function if there's a variable involved, right? X is blue. In English, you see that? That's clearly a propositional function because it has a variable. Remember, crucial thing about propositional functions, they are not true or false themselves, right? They're not complete. They need completion by replacing an individual variable with an individual constant for a singular sentence, or having a quantifier next to them to make a quantifier statement. So this is going to be a propositional function, as it should be, right? Because quantifier statements, the for all x binds propositional function here, right? So remember back just to our paradigmatic A form, right? Paradigmatic A form categorical, all Australian to surfers, right? Just notice, right? It's a propositional function here, it's a propositional function here. That remains true for these complex, for these categoricals with complex subjects and predicates. So this is going to be a propositional function. So I have to say, what's true of X, right? Sort of rephrasing a little bit. Rhinos are ill-tempered and will attack if provoked. Becomes, right, for all X, if X is a rhino, then what? X is ill-tempered, right? And X will attack if provoked, if X is provoked, right? Doing these is good practice for getting a handle of the logical forms that you're writing out, right? Again, you've got to read this such that when you first say for all X, as you go forward in the logical form, you're saying for all X, this is what is true for every single one of them, for every single X, for everything in the universe. If that particular X is a rhino, then that particular X is ill-tempered, and that particular X will attack if provoked, right? This universal quantifier binds the X here right? Binds everything within the scope of the quantifier. So this x refers back to the quantifier. Right? If this said there exists an x such that, say that there exists an x such that x is a rhino and, because the existential quantifier should go with a dot, it would say there exists an x such that x is a rhino and that very same x that I'm saying is a rhino, that very same individual is ill-tempered and it will attack if it provoked. Right? Speaking of individuals here. Okay, so again, I stress the most important thing about the move we made is we have laid down the correct form, universal with a hook, right? And that form remains in place. And I still got some translations to do. I got to determine the logical form of all this stuff and symbolize it. But the most important thing is where it goes, right? It goes as the consequent of this conditional bound by this universal variable, right? So then all this remains the same. This part remains the same. For all x, px hook, okay? And now all this stuff's going to go here. So what's the major operator of this? X is ill-tempered and x will attack if provoked. The major operator is the and, right? So it's going to be a conjunction. It's going to be a conjunction. So x is ill-tempered. X is ill-tempered. And now the second conjunct is itself complex. X will attack if provoked. Okay, that's what follows. The if is the antecedent of a conditional. If it's provoked, it will attack. Okay? That is an open bracket. That goes with that. That goes with that. Another closed bracket, so I should have three brackets. Got them all? Yep. Okay? So that's how you do that. Okay? So crucial thing, we put the form in place, we rephrased the predicate, we rewrote the predicate as the appropriate propositional function, such that what all this stuff said was equivalent to this original statement. And when we went to translate all this, which required, adding a few more logical symbols, we got a dot, we got a hook, we had to figure out what the antecedent and the consequent of the hook were, right? But everything went in the right place is the important bit, right? The overall the major operator of this whole propositional function is the hook. Overall, this is a conjunction. That's the major operator of this part, right? And then the hook goes there. Okay.